the sun has me very upset. So it's kind of hard to deal with right now. I can do this. Yes, I know. Chat. And then I should have the ability to go and set this as a Peggy or a pin. Pin the message. Okay. Alrighty. So we should technically be in the game.
We're live.
We're live? Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so you can click right here. Turn the volume down. Turn this sideways. Okay. And as soon as this begins going, we'll be ready. So I hope you guys are ready for this. Jug, I hope you're ready. Necro, I hope you're ready.
Absolutely.
We already have the link in the section to the right, so I think we're set there.
The YouTube link.
Yeah. Well, no, we have the American Cancer Society link. I have pinned
The charity link.
Yes, the charity link. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it says YouTube.com.
Does it? Did I grab the wrong one? Hang on a second. I grabbed the wrong one. Don't you get mad at me, young man.
I'm not getting
Don't
mad
you
at
get
you.
facetious with me, young man. I have enough problems as it is with my own son. I don't need you.
I'm just saying.
Let's see if we can find it again real quick.
I pinned it in the general.
Yeah, I can read in general. I'm better than everyone else. Yes, I am. I'm juggling. I'm better than everyone else.
I think he should be called Sugar Fancy Pants.
CNN
No,
service down. So there it is right there. I'll copy that. I'm pretty sure we are supposed to be live. Oh, we are. We've been live for quite a few minutes now. Yay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks.
The cameras are gray.
Of course they are, because I'm doing other things in the background that I shouldn't be doing right now. I should actually be here, but I'm not because I'm there and I'm everywhere. So now I have to unpin this. And then I have to go and do this. No, I need to go find do this, and then this. And then now I can pin it. Now I can pin the message. Okay. All right, so that should work. All right. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, and thank you for joining us once again on Monsters Gaming. I am, of course, Kaiju. Crying on the inside K with me here is Juggernaut. I'm just around to be a robot, Juggernaut, Jared.
Hello.
And up from the depths, 4 feet high, Necronick.
Hey, I'm bigger than that.
And for those of you who've been keeping up with our little strategies here and there, we're doing 40K. Now we should expect K-Mod to show up sometime tonight, hopefully. If not, he has a lot of splaining to do. Now, last time we explained each one of our groups. We have Chaos Lord Necros, aka Necronick. We have J4R3D, Jared Reed, aka the Lord of the Chronos Keepers. We have just regular Kaiju K as the regular old Joe who lives out in the void, and then we have K-Man, who's apparently a space marine question mark. Don't know. We told you just enough about ourselves to keep people interested in watching, but now we have to put our money where our mouth is. Now we actually have to start talking about our soldiers. Now, do any of y'all remember who went first the last time?
I think it was me.
All right, well, in that case, we will begin speaking about the Lord of the Fallen, the Lord of the Undead himself, Necronick. Now, just a quick reminder to you guys, 2 things. One, we are doing a live stream challenge right now. We are talking about the one, the only Tiltify, or sorry, I am sucking tonight. I'm sorry, guys. The American
American
Cancer Society.
Cancer Society.
Thank you. We're currently running a donation link for them in the description. We are trying to make at least $500 towards it. If you can donate, you can. If you can't, you can at least leave a message below or something like that. We would love it. Now, the other thing I need to remind you is 40K is a very complicated game. And it's very
toxic community.
toxic. Well, they're not all toxic, some of them are. But they also have a lot of expenses. So units can be altered at any time, and different groups can hold different weapons. For instance, Space Marines can hold las pistols, las rifles, sniper rifles, your grandmother, all kinds of different weapons to throw at the bad guy.
Your grandmother?
Yeah, you said not me. Anyways, so we will be giving you the bare bones models of our group. Now, what you need to remember is quite simply this. Necro is about spreading disease, so his weapons will mainly be about spreading disease. Now, he is actually kind of funny because he was created by Tzeentch as kind of a way for Tzeentch to put the bullet to Grandpappy Nurgle. Tzeentch taught him about the disease known as the Necros disease that Grandpappy Nurgle didn't even know about. And Grandpa Nurgle wouldn't have even wanted it because it would keep people from being able to go into his fold. So his weapons are all about bleeding and disease and that kind of stuff. So remember that. Juggernaut here is more about modular weapons. He finds you, he studies you, he finds out what works the best against you, and then he comes to your planet with those weapons. Kind of got to be careful with him because over time he will beat you. That's his strategy. Just a never-ending wave. My guys tend to use weapons based off of the use of a certain type of stone that's actually kind of an ore that basically screws with psychers and machine spirits. So we're more of the boomstick variety. That being said, the 10 units that we bring up for Necro's group right here will all be the baseline models. They'll have access to different weapons, access to different weapons, kits, different armors, etc. So don't think these are the only ones, because when I typed in Guardsmen and the word Infantry, it came up with over 40,000 results.
Over 40K results?
I think that was actually the joke of the website. So, I mean, that's just under the Infantry term. And when I scroll down to Imperial Guardsmen, the list just kept going. Different factions, different groups, different weapons, different armors, all the same type of creature, though they're all Imperial Guardsmen. So, once again, just because Necro has a guy that uses a shotgun doesn't mean he can't have the guy further down the line holding a las rifle with just a different name or a different index. These are just the baseline models. So with that, we will start with Necros, the Necro one here. And once again, Necro is all about splending and splending and splendiding your day with wholesome amounts of you're going to die and come back and work for me. So we'll start off with this first unit, which is the Necrotic Flamethrower Marine. Oh yes, that's just lovely, isn't it? It is. Necros, is that Naked Man?
Yes, it is.
It is the Naked Man.
It is. Hello.
All right. So, Naked Man, you just missed us making the call to the American Cancer Society and bring up the fact that even though we're going to bring up units, just like in the 40K universe, different units can have different weapons, or the same units can have different weapons. So these are just the baseline models.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, I looked up I believe they're called the Blood Angels. I believe that's one of the chapters of the Space Marines. And just under their standard Space Marines, there was like 1,200 different versions of them. So this is just the lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels, and you can go from there kind of deal. So I'm going to start reading off some of the Necros with his Necrotic Flamethrower Marine, and then we'll just go from there. All right, buddy?
Sounds good.
All right, so the Necrotic Flamethrower Marines are very special because they use the venom of the Cyber Hydras, we'll talk about them later, to inflict a type of burning acidic situation. He's not really throwing fire at you, but it sure looks like it. Glows green, hits you. The heavily armored they're heavily armored wearing Space Marine armor from an unknown chapter that once served Necron Dead. Their limbs seem to be slightly scaled, and they are more of an advanced version of shambling Marines, but are armed with deadly flamethrowers filled with a diseased napalm-like venom of the Necros cyberhydras. They attack with unstoppable ferocity, slathering foes with glowing green fire melting through both armor and flesh alike, while spreading the deadly necrosis disease. Like most necrotic units, if left alone, they will, without them being melted by fire weapons or being destroyed by explosive weapons, they will get back up and continue their rampage. So these are kind of a front line, I'm going to just set you on fire, spread my disease kind of character. Behind them are a slightly more sinister creature. They're another version of the Marine. These are the Necrotic Flame Grenade Marines. So, these are explosive combatants of the Marines. These dangerous units wield a terrifying grenade launcher and a thick shield as they enter combat. The grenade launcher is filled with necrotic spikes and napalm-like toxins of Cyberhydra. Can be fired at enemy armor or enemy groups to shred and infect with flames and panic. Remember your training and destroy these beings from the source or they will rise again. So these are more of the, if you want to try with us in melee combat, you're going to have to get through the shields kind of group. But don't you bunch your soldiers up or they'll start laying waste into you. Another one of his Marine units that he has here is the Shredder Marines. And they are very, very nasty. I've added a little flair to them, so the dangerous would be the understatement when it comes to dealing with these terrifying Marines. Their bodies are wrapped up in barbed wire and tentacles, one arm ending with even more sticky barbed tentacles with one heck of a reach. The other, a bone spur firing shotgun. The shotgun's ammo rips right into the target before it begins to spread the dangerous viral package and begins to slowly bleed their prey dry. To exceed the speed at which the virus spreads through the cells and to make it so they fall quicker and then rise again. These deadly close-range soldiers close the gap with their jump jets, and then will attack with either their vicious tentacles or deadly shotgun. So as a shotgun unit, you know, these guys aren't going to be sniping you from a distance, but if they can get a drop on you, you're in a lot of trouble. However, they don't have any of that acidic stuff, so, I mean, a little better, you know. You can still get infected, but you don't, you know. So, you might say to yourself, okay, well, as long as we can keep Necro on the back burner, you know, if he doesn't infect our soldiers, we can keep marching forward. And you would be correct, but Necro is a twisted monster. Amongst the units that I haven't mentioned include things such as fungal bats, dead water, which is a unit that's actually a bunch of microorganisms that can control water. They won't be coming up, but he does have tricks up his sleeves, including the fungal horrors. These are a terrifying creature from the Demon Prince of the Undead, and they show just how truly devastating he can be. After all, who would have thought that plant matter could become a weapon? But if he can't find a way into a fortress, he'll begin killing off plant life. Nothing is more dangerous than your food falling away from you and becoming a deadly creature that looks like some kind of werewolf-like being. These massive, terrifying creatures slowly make their ways into bases until they can find a perfect location, a suitable location, in which they become their true terror. Their bodies slowly melt away and become a hive that slowly begins to spread diseases outwards. These diseases, of course, are anything from the Necros disease to mind-melting viruses to those that rot muscles and even more. So, if given time and Necro can't get bodies, he'll find bodies. Necro is... Necro is no way, shape, or form short on bodies. But now we get to one of his base model units, which is the Shambling Marines, which you might think are slow-moving, but they're actually not that slow. They'll catch up with you eventually. They were once fellow soldiers who served with Necro. These horrifying beings will march forward with crazed eyes, coughing and spewing up viruses as they walk. When fallen, these men will often stand up over time and continue to march on. What was once man is now a weapon for the zombie plague, as their bulges have now become cursed containing the virus, and their bodies are only alive because of the need to feed on flesh, which they will do over time, regenerating not only their numbers, but their own limbs and health. So these will kill people and then begin eating them and heal themselves. Oh, Lightning FG, sup? So basically, these would be the bottom rung of his Space Marines of his chapter, the ones that have just recently become infected. However, just to throw it out there, they are not at all a weaker Marine. They still use the bolters, but they're more, you can kill us, but if we even get one or two of your soldiers, we've already done our damage. Basically, when it comes to Necro, if one of your guys gets injured, they're already dead. They might as well just be off. And by the way, the necrosis virus is not a natural virus, but a magical-based virus, which means, unfortunately, it has the ability to affect machine spirits, aka it can affect Juggernaut's units as well. So we got to be careful with those, or he'll do horrible, horrible things to us. The next up is the Cyber Hydras, as we remember them from before. Upon being granted unlife, Necro, the Prince of Death, made his way back to his home planet to begin rectifying mistakes that he made in the past. His units swarmed through like a disease, wiping out entire colonies one after another, but until he had finally found what he was looking for. A specific creature, the creature that left a scar on him many years ago. These hydra-like reptiles, capable of regeneration and disease-like acidic breath that burned like napalm. He searched high and low until he found their breeding caves, which became giant, massive chasms below. That's when he began. He began to slaughter them by the hordes. His soldiers struck them down, but they would grow back. They would grow back from blood, from muscle, from bone. But as time continued on, the effects of the necrosis virus started taking over. Slowly, the hydras began turning on their own, smashing their own eggs and devouring their own to create even more. Soon, they turned on their own, and with that, the necrosis cyber hydra was reborn. They are large, they are heavy, and they are large, three-headed heavy beasts. They're upgraded not only to spread the disease, but to spread the disease of their venom, which includes burning sensations and numbing pain, but the necrotic version as well, which will allow them to affect even machines. Be wary of their massive size, their deadly bite, and their powerful napalm-like bile that can rip through even heavy vehicles. So these are a rather large unit. They will basically belch vile before moving in range with their long necks, biting, smashing, and crushing whatever's in their way. Next up, before we get to the very terrifying units, yes, we have not gotten to the terrifying units yet. So if you folks have thought, hey, this is pretty scary, you guys ain't seen nothing yet. Necro also has access to a smaller thing, a fungal parasite, if you will. These are small, swarming, and evil to the letter E. The fungal parasites are a spreading unit specialized in spreading disease. They appear to be head crab-like objects, and what they will do is they will either lunge at living or injured foes and try to connect and infect them, or try to take over dead bodies, thus bringing them back to life. These are one of the less threatening creatures, but if your army is left weakened after an encounter with his cyber hydras or something like that, these things can swarm you with ease. Now we get to the last three. The last three are the more terrifying members of the party, the group's monstrosities. As we know, demon princes slowly evolve their most faithful followers to bigger, stronger, nastier creatures. Necro is no exception. So we'll start off with the champions of Necros. So these would be the soldiers, the Shredder soldiers, the Flamer soldiers, etc., that have served Necro well. Champions of Necros are shrouded with cloth-like projections of undead energy. This energy can reach out and grab other soldiers as if they're tentacles, and can definitely surround the unit and create a shield of armor that you'll have to blow through before you can actually begin damaging the champions. If that wasn't bad enough, they carry deadly, devastating scythes that drips with unlife and shoulder-mounted weapons based on what they were. You know, champions of Necros, flamers will have flamethrowers, etc. These spread terror and help their masters' numbers grow. So these are the next step up above his Space Marines. These are the I'm going to wash you clean. They have force fields around them from the shadowy energy, and they just grow stronger over time. Gems of Necros that last long enough will then be chosen, aka the chosen of Necros. These creatures have become even deadlier. They become more human-like. They appear more human-like. You could really only tell the difference by looking at their glowing red and green eyes, in which case you know something's wrong. Those who serve the Lord of Necrosis long enough have their cloth-like projections form into flowing capes, cowls, deadly demon armor, etc.
What?
These powerhouse units trade their sights for long, cursed blades that, once they fell a foe, sealed a fate by signing them to the contract to serve the undead. They have thickly armored shells and weapons of pure energy that they can pull from beneath their cloaks. Not only can they spread undeath, but they feed off of it. Basically, each one of them will be able to feed off of those they've turned, and so on and so forth. So they're just a nasty weapon. But from there, we get into the truly terrifying, the rare. The final evolution of the sickly, shambling Marine. Those who show true dedication have their bodies upgraded with mystical runes. Their lifelike visages are removed to show off terrifying skeletons, bones made of shadow armor, etc. They are covered in necrotic disease. Their armor of shadows seems to be unbreakable. Their weapons are just made of pure necros energy. If you're just touched by one of these weapons, it's already over for you. They've also mastered the forbidden magic that causes them to swell in size and strength. So they're very large units. These are the things that once you see them begin marching towards you, you begin opening fire. You want to kill these things ASAP. Necros' entire army is not based on victory, but more or less spreading the virus. They're single-minded in their attempt to give him, wherever he is, larger numbers. And they do. So, any questions about Necros' army?
I would say as Papa Nervo would be very proud of this man.
Actually, believe it or not, Papa Nurgle is very upset with this man.
Really?
Yes, you see, the disease that he learned how to make was actually a stolen disease that Zinch had hold of. So Zinch stole the idea, then gave it to Necro. And now Necro's main job is to corrupt these people so they become part of his legion.
Gotcha.
Which is against Grandpappy Nurgle's thought process. Not only that, but his units are also very, very loyal to Zinch as well, because that's who he serves. So, Grandpappy Nurgle is very unhappy with these guys. These guys are immune to diseases and viruses, and that does not make Grandpappy Nurgle any happier.
Nurgle.
That would be an interesting battle. See with the stars.
Oh,
This
yeah.
Nurgle versus Necro. I don't know who would win. They had a stalemate.
I think that Necro has better firepower, but Nurgle has better survivability. So it would become, demon versus demon, and those wars tend not to end very early. Next up, the man of the hour. He is actually here for this one, so we can actually read them off, and he can actually be here. I give you the juggernaut of the Jareds, the keeper of Kronos, or the time stream keeper, and number one enemy of the one group that would really help him the most, which would be the Necrons. So what we have is Juggernaut Jared. Once again, I need to remind you that all of these units are the baseline models. None of these are the advanced modules, elite models, different weapons. These are just baseline models for him. So we're going to start off from the beginning with the Kronos Wyvern. Kronos is the god of time and space, which is apparently what created him. Okay, so the Kronos Hydras are twin-headed beasts that were designed for combat in extreme weather. They are unaffected by fire, acid, and the very cold. Demon energy is still something that can affect them, so Necro, you don't have to worry about that. Your Grenadiers and Flamers will still torch these things. Okay? Massive creatures with flight capabilities and gliders, they can attack and move throughout the battlefield with ease, landing and crushing foes beneath their massive legs, swinging their massive tails, or just biting them. However, their true power comes from their twin heads. Their left head spews microwave energy that, when set upon a unit, will slowly burn all the oxygen and water out of them, thus basically baking you from the inside out. That's something you want to get hit by. However, the second head spews forth liquid nitrogen, which will slowly freeze the foes. When using the liquid oxygen, the microwave head can instead create a sonic blast, which will shatter frozen targets. And when using the microwave, the right side will emit a flammable fuel, like napalm, that will spread across the targets as well, thus causing them to go kaboom. Not something you want to march on with, but they can be defeated. The next one, however, might be a little harder to kill, the Kronos Siren. Now, these are not beautiful women that are just singing for sailors. No, these are loud units. They're large and heavy armored. The Kronos Siren specialize in destruction of heavily armored, entrenched, or massed groups of enemies, thus softening up way for the less efficient units to get through. This unit uses its massive shoulder-mounted missile launchers to fire on both air and ground targets, while its rotary energy cannons can rip through infantry and light vehicles. They have a specialized tripod leg that not only allows them to take damage more efficiently and fire from longer distances, but allows them to climb over small emplacements, such as walls, to continue their assault. In fact, in more ancient times, these units used to stand next to a wall and grow their legs out to maximum length, only to fire upon the helpless citizens of the area. The next one is the Kronos Abductor. These strange creatures appear to be spider-like mechas. The abductors are used in the protection of life forms. As we all know how well Juggernaut is in the protection of life forms. They're capable of trapping foes in plasma webs before stinging them with their tranquilizer venom from their bites. It's often seen to appear, capture units, and then teleport away. Their ability to teleport makes them very hard to pin down, and large groups of them can be found clinging to walls, ceilings, or even buried underground to only emerge to strike before they disappear again. When they are not on a mission that involves having to save a unit, their massive tails slowly uncoil from their backs, allowing them to use powerful energy rifles to fire on targets from a long distance. That way they can help with removing threats to their missions. So these things are either going to show up and capture you, you hope, or they're going to come and begin wiping you out. The Kronos Agent, however, is even more dangerous. They're silent, they're stealthy, they're brutally intelligent. The Agent class mecha specializes in the elimination of all threats to a mission. They're deadly melee combatants with phase weaponry. For those foes that are truly dangerous, and thus do not want to lose a Kronos Agent, they can attack with phase rifles. The scary thing about phase weaponry, in case you don't know, is that phase weaponry kind of just cuts through things. Force fields and psionic energy don't really do anything to them, so these things come up and cowabunga you. They appear, you draw weapons, and then they go, cowabunga it is then, and they just, well. They can teleport, run, climb walls, phase through buildings, etc. And in worst case, if they come against a foe that they cannot defeat, they will simply get close and then detonate their fusion cores, thus eliminating the threat along with them. If they die and you try to grab one of them for their parts, they will also detonate. So kind of, keep away from these things if you can help it. The cybernetic modules, on the other hand, are even more dangerous. Upon finding out that the new enemies were capable of performing techniques that were considered voodoo, magic, or spellcasting, the cybernetic commander himself, aka Juggernaut, deployed several of his assassins and several of his capture units to begin capturing these people. He realized that they had gained a connection with the dreaded Chaos Warp, and thus they were able to use this. Thinking carefully and thinking quickly to adapt to the situation, he did the only thing that was capable. He transformed them. Using his technology, he basically took their jars and placed them in plasma holders. They're generally used in the acquisition of information, just like the agents are. And they are ferocious as a space marine if cornered. They are strong enough to wield bolters or use weapons that they're designed to carry, like plasma rifles, or if they're pretending to be a Tau, one of their phase rifles, etc. The most dangerous thing about them, though, is that they are one of the very few units that Juggernaut has access to that have full-ranging psionic attacks. Psychers, if you will. Which, of course, makes them public number one when it comes to fighting against Space Marines, as not only are they abominations and AI units, but are also psychers, and thus connect the final three. In short, they are the one thing that every Space Marine hates. Now we're going to skip over this one because I skipped over it last time. Necro knows who it is, or Juggernaut knows who it is, so I'm going to skip over him for right now.
Yep.
We're going to go straight to the Chronos Strider. The Chronos Striders are designed, once again, to help with Juggernaut's lack of speed and mobility, which is kind of funny to say as he has a lot of teleporting units. They are crudely designed, massive moa-like birds with deadly ripping beaks and claws. They can jump, climb, and even glide over great distances. They are fast and are specialized in cavalry charges. Cavalry charges, yes. They can usually be found with Chronos adapting soldiers, cybernetic modules, or even infiltrators on their backs, which just gives you a heads up of what they are quite capable of doing. If you get within melee range, however, you are in for one hell of a shock, as these bird-like beings will turn and begin clawing and basically ripping you to shreds. Chronos Ticks. A unit in heavy armor would be more safe and sound to battle against. You might even want to set yourself against fighting against Chronos infiltrators or full adapting mechs, rather than the terrifying Chronos Tick. Fear Incarnate is, of course, the job they've been given. They appear to be large swarms of small mechanical beetles clicking and clawing, crawling across the battlefield. In fact, they can easily overrun Imperial Guardsmen and wounded Space Marines as well. Hint, hint. We have another one like that. Hint, hint. They will either explode once they come over a group exploding like thermite bombs, or simply drill the corpses slowly over time, melding the soldier until the unit can spread and become transforming into CCMs or Chronos infiltrators. In short, these guys go into a battlefield, go find a wounded soldier or something, and then slowly mutate them over time. It's almost as if he got this idea from another member of the group. It's almost as if battling a certain demon prince may have given him ideas. I'm just saying. The mass-produced infantry. The strangest unit of his group, because of his ability to adapt quickly, would be the Chronos mass-produced infantry. They're the first in and the last out when it comes to heavy bombardments. The CMPI is, in all intents purposes, the Imperial Guardsmen of the Chronos army. However, that is where they begin to differ drastically. They have stronger weapons, stronger armor. They feel no fear. They fear no death. And because they can just be salvaged and recycled afterwards, there's actually no loss in casualties or time when it comes to these units. Blowing off an arm or a leg will not stop their combat, as they will continue to crawl and attack in mass swarms. The best way is to attack them with massive amounts of units or long-range AoE weapons. The Chronos Infiltrator. I know I've mentioned him a few times. We get to him now. They are designed in the truest purpose. The Chronos Infiltrator is designed for one thing and one thing only: to take others' places through stealth, teleportation, and holographic technology. Basically, they enter an area, wipe one, two, maybe even a squadron of people off, and then take their place. They use special technology to read your minds, and thus they can be anything. It can look like any infantry unit on the map, and they're designed to gain information such as technological knowledge, training, etc. Basically, the more you train up on a specific soldier, if he's mimicking it, the more it can learn, and thus the stronger he can make his soldiers. So you don't want these things taking over too many of your guys. It found out they can wield their plasma carbines or their enemy's weapons, but the strongest thing about them is their durability and regeneration, which is the best the money can offer. Some of these spent agents have even been chosen without being noticed. For years, he could have sent them, decades, millennials. They could be your neighbor, your fellow guardsman, your pilot, until the time is right, and they turn on you. So basically, this is to spread a little bit of fear. These units could be taking over a group of your soldiers, and you would never know it over time. And then suddenly, in the middle of a space battle, one of your ships just starts blowing itself to hell and opening fire on your other soldiers right after it's been taken over. But folks, from there, I have to lead you with the most devastating unit to exist so far from his army. Now, Necro has the Chosen of Necros, which are terrifying individuals. But even they might think twice against the Kronos fully adapting soldiers. Now, stop me if you've heard this one, because they might sound like a familiar group, and yes, Ben 10 is involved. So, the CFAST units, if you will, are formed out of a specific building called the Adaptation Lab. Now, of course, Juggernaut has to build one of these on the property. He can only have up to 5 at a time, and only 5 groups of these soldiers. They start off weak and simple, armed with simple weapons and simple commands. Their strength, however, comes from programming and the information they gain as they're destroyed. Given time, they will reform at the Adaptation Lab. Stronger armor designs to protect them from what their opponents use to destroy them. Better weapons to help them take down what destroyed them. Given enough deaths and enough time, they can easily strike down an Astradi. The best knowledge when it comes to fighting these creatures is... Sorry, I'm trying to outread myself here. The best way to defeat them, however, is to find the adaptation labs and blow them up. If you could get rid of all 5 labs at one time, he will have to start from scratch. So basically, if these soldiers are fighting one of Necro's flamethrower troops, Necro burns them to death. Which Necro can do. He's really good at burning things to death. He likes doing that kind of stuff. The next group that attacks him will be more resilient to his weapons. The group after that will become even more resilient. And the group after that will be just straight up immune to those weapons. But if he's fighting against, say, Necro and myself, then 2 groups will begin to become one. They'll become harder to fight, better stealth detection, etc. These are very dangerous units. And that, my friends, leads off with Juggernaut. Do we have any questions for Mr. Jugger of Knoth?
Not offhand.
Yeah.
So next up,
That is a...
yeah, his units are designed off of the idea that they want to watch, learn, and adapt into combat. However, much like Necro's units, they do have flaws. Necro's units do not do well against explosive-based weaponry. In fact, it's one of the things they try to get rid of as soon as possible. Juggernaut, however, is a lot of tech buildings. If you can bring down his main CPU, his main broadcasting towers, etc., his units will weaken very rapidly. Now, we do have somebody that I'm very curious for, because I do not actually have a sheet in front of me claiming any of his units. So if the Mighty K-Man would not mind explaining just a few of his units, the infantry preferably, we'd be more than thankful for it.
Oof. Quick question. When I was creating my military, I went a little overboard.
Okay.
And so I included Space Marine chapters with my military.
Okay.
Should I exclude them, or should I just read what I have?
Read what you have, man. You know, if you don't have 10, that's fine. You can either go overboard or you can go underboard. It doesn't really matter. What really matters is the naval units, which all of us are going to suck at.
At least it's not going. At least it's not going waterboard.
We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. Don't you give him time and energy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the sons and daughters of K-Man's army. Military breakdown. Battalion 1, ground troops. First up is the 1st Crocodile Battalion. This battalion is built for shock and awe tactics. Troops assigned to this battalion are equipped with las rifles, shoulder-mounted las Vulcan miniguns, and few grenades. Supporting this battalion are called Croc Screamers. They are the tail of the Croc. Croc Screamers are equipped with jump packs that only work for short distances, used for urban combat situations.
Okay.
Few of the officers there have sonic pistols. Some of them are equipped with plasma launchers. So
Oh.
they don't really. Plasma launcher, you might think of more as a shotgun. I'm thinking more like an RPG.
Oh, okay. Okay. That works. Still, I mean, the
They
last thing I
check-
want to get hit by is a jump pack wearing soldier with a rocket launcher. That seems like very bad times for anyone else.
Yeah.
So I'm hiding behind a wall with
Gotta-
my soldiers and suddenly peekaboo! Oh crap! And then my guys will go exploding. This is not a good thing for me.
They tried doing the rocket launcher jump thing. It didn't work out. I lost too many soldiers doing that.
We are
That's why we have
soldiers.
commissars.
We will use rocket launchers. Yes. Sultan. Sultan. And for all my, Space Force who's watching this, Sultan again. Yes, Space Force. Continue, my friend. Sorry to interrupt.
It's quite alright. The main battle doctrine is to strike hard and fast. I mean, that's the idea. Doesn't work out too well sometimes, as any war in the 40k lore.
Well, just to throw that out there, but the first two competitors over here aren't exactly known for speed either. So if you strike fast and often, that might be an advantage for you.
The crocodiles are led by the Space Marine chapter of the Croxagore.
Okay.
This Space Marine chapter is built to go toe to toe against White Scars if needed. So they're based on the gene seed of Jagadai Khan, and Jagadai Khan, for people that don't know, is based off the Mongolian horde like Genghis Khan, and Genghis Khan was his main thing was speed, accuracy, and in and out. Like,
be right back.
Quite alright. Anywho, people, please like, share, and subscribe, and tap that bell for notifications and comment. Thank you so much.
I was not here.
I had to do a joke. I had to do it.
Hi, chat.
I know.
You know.
You can hi to the chat. Hang on a second. Go on, say hi to the chat. Let's say hi real quick. Hi, chat. He just graduated.
Hello, hello.
So. Show me your diploma really quick. Keep going. Keep talking. I'll be right with you.
All right. So
He's in trouble as it is. So
even though they're not, my military is not heretical. They have some heretical like vibes, and
it's almost like
even
mine.
though he
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
have
that was almost
access
like mine.
to certain gene seeds.
And
Just like backtrack on that. There's 20 Primarchs. Each Primarch has a very specific trait. One trait, like the White Scars of Jagadai Khan, go really fast, and they're more shock and awe,
was not ready for that. I'm sorry,
fast tactics. It's quite alright.
They continue.
And you can go to Rogel Dorn of the Imperial Fist, and his gene seed, he employs defensive tactics and building structures and defense. There's like, I forget his name, but the Legion of the Emperor's Sons, which is a heretical legion. They are perfection in battle, perfection in knowledge, perfection in everything, and they want to do the best. Perturabo, who his gene seed is sieges, and that's what he does. So Rogadorn and Perturabo go hand in hand like brothers. Well, ergo, they are brothers. They
Right.
were brothers. Siege, and all the tactics of sieges. Each siege he does, he wins them. He learns how the enemies fight, and then gets better and better and better
Why
to an extent.
that sounds like he might not really like going up against Juggernaut.
I think
Juggernaut
they would have fun.
He does learn over time too. That'd be a hell of a battle.
Yeah.
Why? I
So-
can't be defeated in defense. Well, I can't be defeated in the defense. Well, I can't be defeated. Well, I can't. You're an MP. No, you're an MP. Continue.
So the 4th Battalion, the Boer Battalion. Now, if anyone of our subscribers listened to my last entire spiel of my Primarch that I had created, he went to Khan, and on Khan, on the planet of Khan, there was a whole bunch of beasts that he had either conquered or tamed, and in order to show reverence to these beasts that have been here since millennia, he inscribed them on the Space Marine chapters that he created from his sons. Each son is kind of decreased it a little bit. I don't want to go too far into it, but basically, each chapter of one of his sons that he's created is embodied or has instilled the image of a certain beast that was on planet of Khan. That's why each, like, the crocodiles, boars, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Well,
That's
tidbit of information
still
there.
cool to know. I mean,
so it's not too confusing.
The more that we know about your background, the less has to be made up.
Yeah.
You know, if your sons are the people that decided we're going to, venerate our father by wearing some of his most well-known beings, I think go for it, man.
All right. A little more context for our subscribers, like what's going on. Anyhow, it's 40K. You're not really supposed to know what's going on. It's confusing. I'm kidding.
40K lore is 90%. I heard it here, and 10% maybe it's true. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. So the 4th second battalion is the 4th Boer Battalion. This battalion is built for recon and marksman.
Ooh.
If
Okay.
you need to see enemy emplacements, troop movements, request the Boers. Our Lord has made this battalion to take on the primary function of main marksman and sniper roles. Troops assigned to this battalion are equipped with long-range sniper rifles and stealth cloaks. Side note, a tech priest of great renown has been deployed to Khan. His services were offered up to our Lord, and in his service, he devised that server scrolls that were not being used at the time will be blessed with heavy prayers and incense. And in those blessings and incantations, he devised from Astra Militarum that heavy las cannons be welded to bottoms of the server scrolls.
Oh,
Again, the tech priest has stated multiple times and under inquisitorial guidance that he has prayed and they will serve is yet to be seen.
So what you're saying is servo skulls, those little floating skulls that give you advice and cheer you on, are now packing heat.
Yeah.
Ah.
That's why the tech priest was, the
Hi.
inquisitor. Had to
Hi,
ask
I'm
him.
a blessed talking skull. Also, I'm packing a rifle. Oh,
Eh.
boy. Sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to stop. Just like the idea just gets to me.
So in 40K, what our server scrolls is basically what you kind of imagine, guys, is someone died and he's still, even in death in the 40K lore, you still serve your master. You could be a slave, you could be whatever. Usually slaves are server scrolls. they cut your head off, and they keep your skull, and they have mechanics. I forget the exact word they use for the mechanics, but basically the mechanics, and then weld your skull with a little jetpack or engine onto it, and you just float around. You can like float around, giving prayers, guidance. Not so much prayer, not so much guidance, but
Drive-bys.
prayers, bye-byes, and
Drive-bys.
most important, yeah,
Your servers
drive-bys.
have
Yes.
drive-bys. I guess
They're
they would
used in
this. None of them would be bloods. They'd all be crypts, right?
yes.
Ah. Keep going. I'm sorry.
That is a good one. Hold on one second. I have to do something.
You gotta write that one down.
It's not there. Oh well. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, thank you. So-
the clapping. Yes. Oh, no.
They're used in the Inquisitors as basically moving cameras. So they'll watch, people doing stuff to make sure everything's above board.
And they
Too
have
bad, I
laser rifles
understand. I
attached to them too.
do apologize, but I'm gonna get back. I kind of go off in these little tangents here and there about the stuff. I really enjoy 40K, so
I've
do
noticed.
apologize beforehand.
I've noticed over time, man. Don't worry. I enjoy it.
So getting back on track, there is a new detachment of the Boer company.
Okay.
The Boer battalion, I should say, are called the Hogs. They are trained to hunt underground, so caves and stuff like that. If someone starts building like mines, and if anyone has seen the siege of Vulcan, mining was used a lot in underground tunnels. So the Sons and Daughters of K-Man devised a battalion to combat that. So it was above ground and below ground. They're equipped with auto guns, plasma shotguns. This battalion has similar tactics of the jungle fighters of Katachan.
I know about those guys.
Yeah. This battalion is under the command of the Space Marine chapter of the Razorbacks. This chapter was to embody the Lost Lunar Wolves tactics. So, with the Lunar Wolves was a precursor to Horus. Horus was a lunar wolf, and then his became heretical. Well, this is a sub-chapter of the Lunar Wolves that kind of went poof. So because my Primarch K-Man was not a part of the Horus Heresy, but was around during that time, he has knowledge that was not what's the word I'm looking for?
Readily available.
Redacted.
The scrolls
Yes.
and that. Okay.
Yeah, scrolls and basically scrolls. He has accrued a bunch of scrolls that dictate in very large detail of each Primarch and what it's transpired.
Ooh.
That has been redacted by the Imperium of Man.
Now, quick question.
It's like,
I know your
yeah.
character was around in the area of the Horus Heresy. Was he in the actual Horus Heresy, or did he exist around that time? I mean, I just want to know, like, does he know about what Horus did?
He knows what Horus did.
Okay.
So there was some wars that fought on the outer rims. As a Primarch, he did join, but he was never able to get to like Terra and stuff like that, and actually confront the larger legions and Horus's, heresy.
Right.
Because of the warp and him being to a different dimension,
But he does
and
have
you know
he does
chaos.
have knowledge of all these different groups, so I find it actually really cool and a really good step that while he may not have been a Blood Angel or an Iron Fist or a Dragoon or any of those different groups, he would be smart enough to have the knowledge of what they specialized in so he could train his own troops in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like that about your group.
So the third one is the 5th Bear Battalion. The 5th Bear Battalion is built for defense, similar to the Imperial Fist. Like a stone wall against waves that are crash against it, it will stand strong. Troops assigned to this battalion are equipped with autoguns, stubbers, and grenade launchers. Panzer frying, for they are the shields of Khan. They are supported by an Imperial class Titans, Earthshakers, and Deathstrikers. Earthshakers are like huge, very large howitzers, and Deathstrikers are very large missile launchers.
Ooh.
From what I read, I don't know how true. I know Deathstrikers are howitzers.
We
But
haven't even talked about our vehicles yet,
Earthshakers.
so even an Earthshaker sounds terrifying and not something you want to land somewhere in the middle of your group.
I gotta workshop that a little bit, but
Take your time. You still have
Anyway.
next week as well. I mean, we have 2 more weeks of this, so.
this battalion is commanded by the Bears of Cayman. They wield shields, chain swords, and bolters and melters. None shall gain a foothold if the Bears of Cayman are stationed on that planet. I mean, that's a cool last thing. Who knows?
No, I have heard of other chapters that have similar capabilities, so it's actually pretty cool that you have your entire chapter based on that. I like that. You might take an inch from us, but we'll take a mile from you, kind of guys.
Yeah. The 4th, the 8th Guerrilla Battalion.
Here we go. Here we go. I knew it. I knew it. I've been waiting.
This battalion is built for siege. Troops assigned to the battalion are equipped with heavy bolters, tank buster hand grenades, and shoulder-mounted Vulcan cannons. I don't know. I was thinking more, not so much like lava, more like a minigun. When I say shoulder-mounted stuff, more like a minigun.
You can feel free to change all you want, but I have heard of what a Vulcan minigun on a Vulcan shoulder cannon can do with the dragons, and if they can wreck house with them, I can only imagine how terrifying your guys are.
Officers of this battalion are issued sonic rifles, plasma throwers, and stubbers. Supporting this battalion are Basilisk, Thud Guns, Matacores, and Shallow Whispers. Shallow Whispers are a artillery piece that our Lord has created in order to combat psychers and robotics. They launch out a sonic blast that deafens psyker attacks and robotic communications. Supporting them are Blessed Dreadnoughts. And I'm going to keep one more hidden because that's something we'll discuss next Tuesday.
Okay.
I don't give it too much away, but this battalion are the Spears of Cayman, for they are the Silver Knights of Earl Grey. They are equipped with bolter and smelters, pans of frying, cast iron lubbers. So basically, imagine a weird ass rocket launcher, but fires like frying pans that hit you like Mack trucks.
Listen, getting hit by a frying pan at 120 miles per hour wouldn't feel good. And these things are made of special alloys. So no, it would not feel good to get hit by one of these things. Just getting hit by a frying pan would kill me instantly. But these are If I remember correctly, these are
Yeah.
multi-kilogram weapons just
Yeah.
coming at me.
So this would to add to what has Kaiju said about like Necro Nick and Juggernaut Jared. The Silver Knights are my top tier Space Marines. They're similar to what Grey Knights are. And Grey Knights are like the best of the best of the best.
Grey Knights don't
To
exist.
I'll have the Inquisitor talk to you in a minute.
You didn't hear anything. Actually,
So,
Necro
let's-
might know about them, but Juggernaut,
Yeah.
they don't exist. We don't know they're there. Shh.
So the Silver Knights on their arsenal not only have blessed swords, they have corrupted hammers.
Hmm.
The reason why they're corrupted is because when you hit something, anything, it makes a cartoon bonk sound. I don't know why. It just happens.
Bonk, bonk, bonk. Stop hitting me! I give up! Bonk!
Oh, come on. I'm surprised they don't go squeak.
Don't give him ideas. He has other legions he can make.
Whee! Whee!
It's been stated for some reason that the Silver Knights of Earl Grey fight to the point where even the Chaos God Korn would look upon them when it is raining. Hint, hint, not judge.
I got you.
I don't know why they fight to the point where it's suicidal if it's raining outside, wet, water.
Okay, man. Did you say the Knights of Earl Grey?
Yeah,
Yes, indeed, yes.
You remember
Yeah,
who Mr. Earl Grey is, right?
his silverback gorilla from what was that
Make it
film?
so.
The waterboarding master. He will get his information one way or another.
No, I'm sorry. Every time I hear Earl Grey, I'm like, make it so.
Hot. Make it so. Who are you? I'm Earl Grey.
Come on,
No!
you. There had to be a way that my Grand Imperial Inquisitor would have a hand in some
I was
building
waiting.
ape.
I was waiting.
Space Marine.
When you said they were the apes, I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm waiting in the Knights of Earl Grey. Ah, I got it. There it is, right there.
Yeah. And last but not least, before I say my very last battalion, I do have to give you a heads up. I was listening to the Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture
Oh no.
Oh,
when I built this one.
Boom.
So, my very last battalion, the Daughters of Cayman. May they send guiding hands to those who are worthy. On wings of angels, may they strike down those who bring heresy or dishonor to his family. This new chapter is comprised of mounted light to heavy cavalry. The Daughters of Cayman are equipped with sonic pistols, bolters, blessed spears that can pierce any unholy armor, bomb lances, mobile void shields, and when they have to dismount, they may equip jump packs for urban combat.
Okay.
And that is a small portion of my military.
But
There
are
is
we
more to come.
Are we to remember the 5th of November?
Shells on target, my good friend. Shells on target.
Just make sure you don't fight them while it's raining or you're Don't fight them while it's raining or you're That's it. That's all you gotta remember. The Knights of Earl Grey are there and they're watching for you.
Oh,
You
yes.
will give them your secrets or you will die trying. Okay.
I don't got no secrets. I raise dead and I create hordes.
Don't tell that to Earl Grey, my Grand Inquisitor. He'll find a way. He'll find a way.
He'll make you say secrets.
Okay,
All
man.
my secrets, motherfucker.
Man. All you'll get from my troops all he'll get is 01110001000100011.
You underestimate the power of Earl Grey. You underestimate him.
This Grand Inquisitor came from the warp. We don't know where he truly came from. So,
Listen, when Korn looks to make sure the weather forecast doesn't say rain, shit is wrong, okay? He goes, where are they battling? It's raining today? Okay, we can fight there. But it rains tomorrow, so you guys leave tomorrow.
Or maybe it'll be hexadecimal.
Just watch yourself.
And last but not least, will be Kaiju Cat.
Well, I would like to
Ooh.
bring up a few units from Mama Bear's army. She didn't have a lot for her ideas, but I'll think to throw a few out there. So, Mama Bear said that most of her soldiers fight inside mechas. So that'll be next week's. So, but she said basically her troops would be the equivalent of like Imperial Guardsmen, although she has a strict policy on shinies. And her soldiers are venerated in colors such as rubies, sapphires, emeralds, silvers, and golds. Also, all of her units are very hardy, but they don't have very good range or accuracy because they're small, they're short. But beware her Imperial Hammerers, as they wield hammers that are several times their own size. They're for taking down walls and such. All right. Not that I want to ignore Mama Bear, but she only had a few ideas here. Her ideas were mainly vehicles and definitely in the Navy. So.
In the Navy.
Wrong Navy. Sultan. All right. So, if you guys remember last time I brought up who we were the children of the void. We were the people of the void. We're basically there because, well, you could kill us and we'll just show it back to where we were. We leave nothing behind. So, we don't actually have to be exceptionally dangerous. However, we are very sneaky because, well, we don't want to be seen.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Sneaky, sneaky, sir. Sneaky, yes. So I'll go through my units really quickly. Starting off with Void Defenders. Void Defenders are my main arsenal. They're very, very dangerous. They're decked out in special power suits that are far more durable than a guardsman's armor. They would be on par of kind of a hybrid between a Space Marine's armor and the armor of a stealth suit X-01. So not the best, but definitely durable. They enjoy using devastating mind games to eliminate dangerous targets. They can combine their Void Presence ability with stealth armor. The men and women will strike from the shadows with their Repentance Rod firing railguns, then vanish back into the shadows, or perhaps fall back into the void to teleport once more. For those of you who don't know what a Repentance Rod is, it does heavy damage towards Psychers, which includes demons, sadly. So, while not against his undead units, but against his chosen stuff, Decker would be a little worried. They're basically snipers. They teleport into an area, they open fire really fast, and then they just get out of there. They don't stick around to say hello. Now, just to give you guys a heads up, I created these units before those guys created theirs. So if there are similarities, I do apologize. For instance, this next one might seem similar to a certain unit of a certain character who will go unnoticed, but time is on his side. My Void Hounds are six-legged machines. They have stingers tipping their tails and strong jaws similar to a hound. They specialize in taking care of key targets by using their long tongue, which can fire out and grasp to pull into deadly bites, terrible claws, or their deadly tail spines, which can be launched like a sniper rifle. Which, if you remember correctly, is very similar to his abductors. The Watcher Stend Beast. So, the Watcher Stend Beasts are massively tall creatures. I'm talking 40-foot tall monstrosities. They seem to phase in and out of reality as they march forward. Ironically, they don't damage the ground they walk on. Which is very strange because they have a long serpentine tail rather than legs. Their massive maw belches forth a strange glowing mist, and within that mist, the enemy can see something amassing. Sin beasts are huge reptilian-like creatures with massive claws, snake-like lower bodies, and massive cannons, cannon-like bioweapons on their backs. These cannons can launch massive bubble-like projectiles that detonate, not only damaging, but also spreading a violet fog that eats away at structures and steel alike. However, it also opens up ways into the void, releasing hordes of ravenous beings known as void birthers over an area. So basically, they're my artillery pieces that can phase in and out of reality as they move, and they attack by opening up the void on you, which is not something you want to have happen.
Well, I think Juggernaut's gone and improved how fucking stupid Space Force is.
Full time.
I don't know how you do that though, Jug. I mean, he's in and out of reality. Like bang, disappear, bang, disappear.
Well, his guys teleport. My guys just phase in and out of reality. You know, it's we're doing the same thing. You know. Then, as I've stated last time, I do actually have several sisters, battle sisters in my group, which have split themselves into three groups. The first of those groups will be the Battle Sisters of Void's Gaze. The first of the three chapters within the Void's Gaze sorority specializes in the use of holograms, solid-light constructs, solar energy weapons, and more. These sisters tend to appear out of nowhere and begin opening fire with blinding weapons, creating stationary force fields that can protect their allies, holograms to confuse their foes, and hard-light constructs to aid in battle and rescue. So, basically, they have the ability to use light-based weapons and defensive systems. They'll show up, create a bunch of walls of light in front of them they can fire through, and you can't fire at them, and begin firing at you with weapons of blinding light, solar rays, etc. While they can summon constructs that can use things like digging through ground to save fallen soldiers, that kind of stuff. The second of these three chapters is the Battle Sisters of the Void's Voice. Ironically, within the Void, a quiet and silent area, the Void's Voice sorority specializes in using sound-based weapons to spread messages, crush hope, or strike foes from behind cover and even under armor. They also can use these for medicinal reasons. They prefer to enter combat through void rifts or jump jets, and have extremely powerful armor that sends off vibrations that makes it difficult to hit them. They use sonic cannons to devastating effects, and use special microphones to spread vicious curses or blessed words to those amongst them. Their armor is of sonic energy, diminishing and redirecting damage from a vast array of both melee and ranged weapons. However, the hammers, or also known as the bells of the Void's Voice, use powerful bell-like structures that they can swing with devastating effects that cause vibrations that can shake the very terrain. Rounding out with the third and final of the three sisterhood chapters of the Void's Gale sorority specializes in the use of the Void's magic to spread panic and deceit, crushing enemy machine spirits and psychers with their mist spreaders, opening and moving through void portals, or using their Void's magic to spread healing, pox, or even summon the Watchers within the Void to aid them in combat. So these are the third group. They're the more mystical of the group. Basically, you want to aim and kill these guys as fast as possible when you see them. The Sonic Sisters are more of the heavily armored troopers. They prefer melee combat. They aid in defensive reasoning, and they're basically there for healing. Then we have Void Stalkers. The Void Stalkers use rideable hidden hover bikes that use a stealth vehicles. Let me try reading this one again without screwing up. Void Stalkers are one of the advanced infantry, cavalry, and scouts of the Voidborn. They often use hover bikes that have stealth systems that they have borrowed from a certain faction. That faction, of course, being the Tau. Unlike most hover vehicles, these vehicles are designed for exactly what they do, which is strike and hide. These vehicles seem to be a combination of the Remora drone stealth fighters, which have AoE stealth systems and seeker missiles, as well as sniper drones, which can fire railguns and have high-yield targeting systems. These scouts field for priority targets before striking swiftly and vanishing. They are often the least seen of the groups, but are often the first to be cursed at, as they have taken down several leaders before the enemy army even knows that they're there. Whispers of the Void voice. They are specialized heavy troopers of the Battle Sisters of the Void's voice. These sisters scream into combat on specialized armor featuring sonic displacement wings. They fly head on in battle, swinging sonic cannons, bells of the void, sonic shields. They crush foes while spreading their word and bring the pain. So these are an advanced version of the Sisters of the Void's voice that use jump jets and mostly melee combat to disrupt and destroy basically what they're after. Then we have Mind Breakers. They're kind of something you want to watch out for. These flying monstrosities is one of the best ways to describe these flying swarms of land prey like Watchers. Bearing hive minds and the ability to enter and leave the void at will, they hunger for psychers and machine spirits. The Mindbreakers encircle their prey and latch on with their lethal, powerful sucker-like maws before they begin to overwhelm and drain their foes until they are huffs. If you give enough food, the swarm will in fact fuse and become a larger, more dangerous creature known as a Mind Melder. They I don't have written down. And finally, last but not least, are the Void Breakers. The Void Breakers, or specialized Void Defenders, Void Breakers are not truly what their name states, but instead they are those who help spread the Void by breaking threats. They're armed with specialized stealth suits and Void launchers, special grenades launchers that can be used to altered into landmines. The more dangerous thing about these, however, is the fact that they open up into the Void, where psychers can be truly damaged, demons can be dispelled, and enemy units are often destroyed. The Void Breakers create deadly mazes of mines, while they use their grenades to crush armor and devastate tightly grouped enemies. However, their most devastating ability comes from their grenades and mines, which detonate into the mists of the Void. What makes it so dangerous is there's a small chance that once they open up a Void Birthers and Mind Breakers can emerge from within the clouds. So basically, my army has a lot of summoning capabilities and fights with sonic, light, and stealth. We are mean, we are nasty, and most of all, we are not there. We don't exist. In fact, if you ask Space Marines, our chapter doesn't exist. We've been gone for centuries, millennials even, and they don't admit to us because unfortunately we can't really reach their high-end quality or their high-end tech-based locations. That being said, a battle against us is basically a battle of, hey, what was that noise? And hey, look over there. Before suddenly you get ripped. So are there any questions for my army?
Nope.
All right.
There is. Good lord, your army's scary.
My army is all based on keeping you guessing. That's what we are. We don't want you to know we're there. We don't want you to know how many of us there are. And the void itself is on our side. But my army specializes in fighting against daemons, psychers, and machine spirits, which gives me a huge advantage against some of us and a big disadvantage against others. Against someone like TMOG, I am not highly designed to be able to fight his multi-purpose army. And while, yes, I could get the upper hand on Juggernaut for a few minutes, eventually, he's going to come down on us, and we're not going to be ready when he does. Necro is the only one who has much to worry about, and seeing as we're not living creatures, technically, we're not exactly on his menu of targets to attack, especially because he would have to go way out of the way to even get within range of fighting us. My guys have strength, but because of how we are attached to the void, we can only go as far as we can from the void before we're just ripped back into it. And before you ask, the void and the chaos rifts are different things, which goes to show that there is actual multiple dimensions within the Warhammer 40k universe, because the precursors have often talked about having multiple dimensions as well. So you have the chaos rifts, and then you have the voids, and then you have, I can't remember what the Necrons called it. The Necrons have another area that like circumnavigates everything. Like they can go from point A to point B regardless of what's in between them. But yeah, so we're just another one of the dimension users. That's all we are. That's all we're going to be. And if you come at us, all you really have to do is take like 6 steps back, and all we can do is swing at you.
So, for our subscribers, a little 40k lore for you. So, with the Void and warps in general, before Horus Heresy happened, before battle happened, people were able to traverse the warp. Yes, it amplifies everything. But before Horus Heresy and the Chaos Gods were as powerful as they are now, people could just, if you had the technology, you could traverse it safely.
Oh yeah,
But
back before the Horus Heresy started button, but back before the Horus Heresy, it was actually the way that humanity spread itself so wide because they found it was safe travel. And then the Horus Heresy happened, and then the spreading of knowledge of the Chaos Lords happened, and then it became excruciatingly dangerous to pass through these areas.
And the most kind of terrifying aspect of like chaos warps and stuff like that, not much the Void. The Void is terrifying, but mention when it comes to the chaos rifts, I should say,
they are worse.
Is very much so. One way to open a rift to have chaos to spill in and constantly spill until that you can't stop it or close the door. Is by battles. Countless battles. If enough blood is spilt, I kid you not, if enough blood is spilt in a certain battle and there's just bodies and this war and just anger and just like this thing is the warp manifests or kind of eats on your emotions. That's why like Slanesh could like twist your mind, or Korn can twist your mind, or any other these chaos gods. It just amplifies your emotion. That's why it's really terrifying to go and jump to different systems in this time and space because it just amplifies everything. And when you're in war, because the Imperial Man just wants to conquer everything, like any other like entity in Warhammer, excluding a few of them, but generally they all just want to fight and just conquer and just like basically not so much conquer, expand. They want to expand, but if you expand, you butt heads with everything in the known universe. If you expand enough, you butt heads enough, you're gonna keep sending troops into the meat grinder. Enough troops sent to the meat grinder, and you get one, person saying the right incantations, boom, you got a rift opened. And that you really can't. You can try and broker a deal with a chaos god or someone who follows a chaos god, but really it's a one-sided deal, and it really ends badly for everybody.
Well, how from a different point of view. Hi, I'll be a different point of view. I have noticed that the land of Warhammer, with the exception of one group, with the exception of the Tau, we can take the Boy Scouts, put them over here for a minute. We can put them over here for a minute. Every group in the entire galaxy is out for one thing and one thing only, to be the last thing there. In a nutshell, that's what it all comes down to. While, say, Nurgle is about death and decay and everything, and he will eventually twist everything and turn you into one of his loyal followers, is it really to say that that's any different than what the Emperor of Man does?
Sure.
I mean, yes, you've seen the heavens, but are those actually what they are at the end? Or are you just thrust into more war and conflict? Is he, in fact, as they have stated in the books, but actually Khorne himself as the god of war? Just another form of Khorne. When you look at the world of... Did she come from there? No, she's on her way. When it comes to the Chaos Gods, they were allowed to exist but they have not always been there. Slanesh, for instance, was created by the Eldar. That's right. She, or he, or it, I mean, whatever its personal pronouns are, I don't know. I'm not about to go up and ask Chaos God what I should call it. Was created out of the emotion of lust that grew so strongly that eventually it created. Just like the need for war created Khorne, just like the need for knowledge created Slanesh. Or sorry, not Slanesh, Zeke.
Yeah.
I mean, every space god, including Necros, which was based off of people's need to know if there was the end to life. What is the ending to life? Is it actually undeath or not? Would help create what Necro became. And each of these groups are wildly differing, but they all have the same thought process. There can be only one. So whether you choose to serve the Emperor of Man,
Fuck
Slanesh,
that.
Slanesh, the Greater Good, which is the Tau, I believe, or Gork and Mork for the Orcs, in the end, each group only has one thing under their belt. I win, you lose.
You lose.
Unless you're the Tau, in which case everybody wins. Hugs!
Yeah.
Just like
The
all
towel
the...
never yet, huh?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Like I truly am amazed by all the armies that we've slowly created over time. Like we created our own base characters. We started to create our armies. But the two factions we have not chosen, or any of us have chosen, unless another one of our awesome members of TMOG wants to join, none of them have created a Tau or Eldar or Orc faction.
You are correct on that one. The Tau, the Eldar, and the Orc faction. Now, I won't lie.
Well, maybe not so much the Tau, because the Tau just don't really.
They're
like,
a unified
like
group.
kind of.
They're a unified
Yeah.
group.
Shows the Necros either. Or Necro.
Necron.
Well, I mean,
we technically have you. You're
Yeah.
technically the Necron. I mean, no offense, but you're technically what would happen if the Necron created a Chaos God.
Yeah, but they're all robots. I'm at least living.
They're
Ish.
undead robots, okay? They're undead robots, okay?
I'm dead human.
like, if we want to go by Chaos Gods, me as part of the Imperial Man, I would fall under the Chaos God of Khorne.
Right.
Necro would be Papa Nurgle, even though they doesn't really like each other, but he embodies Papa Nurgle. I embody Khorne. A Jug,
Jug would be more Tzeentch, if
Zeke?
anything. He'd be more
Zeke?
Tzeentch, if anything, because he's all about controlling knowledge with technology. Hi.
And then Kaiju would be hello.
I don't really fit any of the groups. I'm just like the Chaos Daemons in a nutshell.
Maybe Zeech, just Zeech.
Could be. We never chose all of those, and you are literally the only one of us who even thought of serving the Emperor of Man. So just give you the heads up, but hashtag the Emperor of Man was originally a thought process we all had.
Yeah.
Now, much like Necro.
But if I had him body or follow a Chaos God, it would have to be.
Oh, I'd follow Tzeentch.
Him.
I'd follow Tzeentch. None of us want Slanesh, though. None of us want Slanesh. He, she, it can be somewhere else. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, I'm already on the speech.
You don't want excess to the point where excess is excess?
Listen, my group is already a group of sad immortals tied to another plane of existence. We don't need to be running on, hey, we're pure lust anymore, because it can't get much worse than where we already are,
Yeah.
My group got tricked into being what we are. We are as happy as we are allowed to be.
Hey, a lot can be happened when the handshake and a hug.
A handshake and a hug and a 40-foot tall creature living within our bodies going,
Oh. Not anymore. Oh, this is fun. I'm really enjoying this.
I'm enjoying the 40K universe. I do. after hearing what everyone's about, though, I can honestly say that I still feel like I am quite low on the totem pole as far as strength goes from each group.
I would disagree. I
Oh,
would disagree, honestly, because all time, I think I don't want to put words in people's mouths. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but a good chunk of us is like frontline troops fight until the enemy is eradicated.
uh-huh.
But with Kaiju, he has to stay in the wharf, and it's like in here, in our realm reality, out of our realm reality. It's like keep away, but I will defend myself if it need be. But
I
away.
definitely have more supporting units.
Yeah,
Whereas,
defensive.
I
That's
mean,
what.
each one of us also has our high and low units. We have Necro over here with his Chosen of the Necros, which are just monsters on the battlefield. Juggernaut has the adapting robots that, hey, I just killed that guy with a grenade. Watch me do it again. Why didn't that work?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even have to go much further than the Knights of Earl Grey with you, because just like the actual Grey Knights, which don't exist, they
Yeah.
are just powerhouses. So like, you're just screwed. I am more of a supporter heavy group, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to open up the void up in the middle of your base and say hi, everybody. I will say that from Necro's side, I definitely like the fact that you really have to pay attention to Necro's units, because once he starts to spread the viruses and diseases, it could just be over for you. For Juggernaut, I actually really like his infiltrator units the most. I put a lot of work behind making them. So you have a guy who's just been on your side the entire time, like a Grand Inquisitor who's been on your side this whole time. And the next thing you know, there's a plasma rifle to your head. You turn, and he's looking at you with glowing green eyes, going, "Hello, Bob." And you realize, holy crap, this guy's been an infiltrator for hundreds of years. How did this happen?
Or you're preparing for a massive attack. You're probably one of the Iron Fists, and you see one of your massive cannons turn around and blow up try to bomb your citadel. Yeah,
Right.
because guy manning the gun is an infiltrator.
But just remember that this
Well, oh, Mama Bear.
week,
Hello, my bear.
hello, they all say. So this week was infantry. Next week we'll be dealing with the ground vehicles and the mechas, which should be super easy for Juggernaut, not for the rest of us. But until next time, I am the confused Kaiju K.
I'm Necronique.
I'm Juggernaut Jared.
Shells on target, K-Man.
And we'll catch you all next week for that fun adventure where we start talking about war vehicles. Peace out, everybody.
Yay.
And cheers.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey, if I have Earl Grey with me, then I don't have to worry about cheers, because then he can just give me the Earl Grey tea.
So